Hello, everyone, and welcome to WP Roundtable, episode number 40. We've got another great guest on tonight. My name is Jason Crawford, coming to you from Medellin, Colombia, and that's it for me. Rich?
Hey, everybody. It's Rich Robinkoff. I'm a web developer in Cleveland, Ohio. Over to Kellen.
Good evening, everybody. Kellen Mace, web developer from Michigan, just like our friend Kyle over there. Happen to be on tonight for another episode of the Roundtable.
Hey, folks. My name is Kyle Maurer. I am a developer and business owner here in Jackson, Michigan, the greatest city ever. Today we've got a very special guest here for episode 40. To mark this milestone, we got Kiko Doran to come in and join us. This is a very special occasion, and we're excited to have him with us. Kiko is the founder of InGroup Consulting and one of the co-founders of Prestige Conf, which is coming up next month. So we're going to talk to him a lot about that. So Kiko, can you give us a brief introduction, tell us who you are and what you do?
You pretty much stole everything. I have a small business consulting group called InGroup Consulting, and like you said, I started a Prestige conference along with Josh Broughton last summertime we started it. And we did our first event October of 2014, and we have another one coming up next month in Las Vegas.
And it sounds like a really fantastic event. We're going to talk a lot about that, and hopefully get more people to buy tickets. As I understand, there's still tickets available. Is that correct?
There are still a few tickets left. There's live streaming tickets that are infinite. We'd be happy to sell thousands and thousands more of those.
Oh, let's see if we can sell a few more of those tonight.
That'd be great.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on real quick to do our quick picks of the week before we learn more about Kiko. I'll tell you guys my quick pick of the week first is a former guest on the show. Back last fall, we had a plugin developer named Zach Katz come on the show. Katz Web Services. He's a phenomenal plugin developer, very prolific guy. And he made a plugin called Gravity View that integrates with Gravity Forms, and recently released an awesome and hilarious and dangerously catchy promotional video with a song for this plugin made by a character known as the Song a Day Man. Brian Krogsgaard wrote about it on Post Status, and you can find the video there. And I recommend you watch it and just expect or recognize that if you do watch it, you're going to get this catchy jingle about his plugin stuck in your head because it's awesome. So check that out. That's my pick of the week, the thing that made my week for sure.
Well, my pick of the week is, I'm all about security, try to always safeguard everything. And I've really been enjoying using Clef. I know a lot of people have heard about it. They actually just updated their iPhone app to 3.0. And besides a nice catchy orange color, they now allow you to go offline. So you can use that Clef Wave. Obviously, this doesn't do it justice, but the really cool graphic to log into your WordPress site without having to use any passwords. Clef's a really cool app. I know they're looking at adding more features. They got funding back in November, almost a couple $1 million. So I'm expecting better and better things out of the Clef team. So that's my pick of the week.
Cool. Thanks, Rich.
There you go.
Are you wearing the T-shirt, Rich, too?
Me with Clef.
Yeah.
The Clef Wave. It's attacking me. Okay. My pick of the week isn't a particular product, service, something like that. It's just kind of a tip I got from a more experienced developer on a project I was working on recently. I needed to look up some data in two tables in WordPress. So one was in the user meta table, and then one was in post meta. Well, here with WP query. So I just put together a query that would, find something in one of those tables, return it, and then use the result to then do a second search in another table. Well, my code was reviewed by somebody who knew more than I, and he said, there's a better way. You can use WPDB and an inner join command, INNER space JOIN, inner join. And you can kind of query two tables at once with, for stuff that meets the criteria you're looking for, and return it, and it's going to be a lot more performant than doing the WP query ×2 that I had been doing originally. So just a really good tip I'm going to try to keep in mind whenever I'm doing that, whenever I'm searching kind of 2 tables for things like that. Keep that in mind and learn more about it as well. That's what I got.
All right, so my pick of the week was Usability Hub. And I don't know if we brought that up before, but it came up in conversation today, or, well, a couple days ago. And it's just an opportunity to test 2, 3, 4, whatever you need to test, but test different options and see which ones produce the best results before you go into full-blown development of a site or take it live. And usabilityhub.com, I like it. I use it all the time, so that's my pick.
All right, I came up with a pick today. It's just the only plugin I use on every single site that I develop, and that's WP Migrate DB. I use the pro version of it. I put the link there for the standard version, but it's just, I mean, if you're doing development locally, to be able to pull down all the data from another database off of a live server, it really saves me hours and hours of time. So check it out.
Thanks for that recommendation, Kiko. Awesome. Those are some good picks, guys. All right, so Kiko, we want to learn a little bit more about you. So let's start from the beginning, if you don't mind. First question, we just want to know a little bit about where you were, what you were doing before you got into the web and before you got into WordPress, and what was the journey that brought you here, originally brought you into the WordPress world as well.
Well, I've been doing web development since 2000. Well, I did my first website like 1997. I built a Chinese Voice of America website with a real audio player. It was pretty awesome. I wish I still had it somewhere, but I was in the Air Force at the time. I did 11 years and almost 11 years in the Air Force, and I got out in 2007, and I just didn't really want to get a job. I was working at the NSA for my last tour in the Air Force, and I didn't have my resume done when I got out of the Air Force, and to do a resume after you've worked in the NSA is like nearly impossible because you have to get everything cleared before you can actually put it on your resume. So I just figured I'd go out and try to do it on my own. I had like 4 months of paid time when I got out of the Air Force and figured I'd take that 4 months and try to take a run at starting my own business. So I just started doing it then, and it's been now, coming up on 8 years. It'll be next month, I guess.
So what made you choose where you're at now? Did you originally start, because I know right now you're running InGroup Consulting?
Yep.
Consulting group. Was that the original business that you started? And just what was your business like in the beginning when you started?
It wasn't the original name. So my business is really business consulting. It's not I don't really bill myself as a WordPress shop. So we do business consulting, and we use WordPress to solve business problems. I think I do more of like a process analyst or like a strategic vision analyst kind of. And so I'll go in and learn a business and figure out where kind of the shortcomings are in the process, and then build an application that will help them refine that process. The WordPress part of it came in about 2009, just because I was building everything unique on my own, and found WordPress and really changed my life, made everything much easier. I'm sure we all can attest to that, right?
Definitely. So what about the clients that you're serving and that you have been serving? You started out your business, you said you had that little time, you said, I'm just going to do this on my own, go out and get some clients. What did those clients look? And then after that, what do your clients look like today? So
my first client I got kind of lucky. I was playing in a band when I was getting out of the Air Force. I was playing bass in a band, and the guy who was like the band leader, he had a big insurance business. So I started off doing like lead development for him. I was just helping him generate leads for insurance salespeople, and it was really tied to the housing market. So I did that for about 2.5 years, and then the housing market went to crap, and pretty much there were nobody buying houses to try to get leads from that. So we were using kind of the housing market as our sourcing for the leads. So I started off really pretty much all in insurance. And now my clients, they really run the gamut. I have a couple physician clients that are on retainer that are, it's probably the majority of my business is dealing with small private physicians. And just finished a project about a month and a half ago that was for it was like a music booking agent, and they represent like 20-something bands, and help them. It's like a contract generator, so they can generate contracts and send them out to everybody. I like to do video too. I do a lot of videography. So I helped a nonprofit. We built like a online video training piece. It's basically a glorified membership site, but there weren't great membership solutions out at the time when we were planning it, so we built it all from scratch as well. But we did the video shoots, we planned the content, we planned all the questions, so a lot of it comes into that strategic planning piece, but then once you do all the planning, it's really nice to be able to build the product as well. So I like to say that there isn't anybody that we can't help. It's just a matter of if it's an industry that we really want to get in and learn.
Hey, Kiko, you mentioned you build processes, I think, within the websites and applications apart from the websites. I know on your website you've got the music video or the music groups as an example. Can you give us a few other examples of maybe problems randomly you identified and what kind of solutions you've created? Don't even go into specifics on client details or anything, but as much as you can give us.
Yeah. So the physicians is something that I've really spent a lot of time on lately because I really think the future is building sites in like that SaaS mentality of like something like a Happy Tables. Are you guys familiar with that? It's like a restaurant. It's basically like WordPress.com, but targeted at a vertical. So I've been putting a lot of time so I've been seeking out physician clients because I want to bring them all in and learn about what are their particular nuanced details to their business that they need to solve. So that's really been probably the last year and a half has been the focus of bringing on new. I do all the sales myself, so it's a lot. Like if I bring in like 3 clients a year, that's plenty for me. So finding new physician clients and then really getting in and tackling like what are the needs that they need to solve. So that's been the biggest thing. I really like doing the video training as well. So that's been, I built this thing it was a liquor board association. They pull together people who have liquor licenses in Minnesota, and they have a membership system for them. And they had a person that was running around all over the state of Minnesota doing training. They had one guy that did training for how to sell liquor to people. So we planned like 2 different tracks. It's like an on sale and an off sale. We like found the places to do the videos. We brought in all the actors. We wrote the scripts. So it can really be anything. My partner, he always likes to say, that's what we do. And people say, well, what is it that you do? And we say, well, what do you need? And that's what we do. So it really just depends, like what kind of problems do we want to tackle. But those have been the big ones in the more recent past.
I'm assuming by how do you sell liquor, you're not just talking about like sales pitches and how to get people in the door, because I assume with both of us being ex-military, we don't go asking where to buy liquor. We just figure it out.
Yeah, this is how to sell liquor safely. It's the new military.
Yeah, safely, legally, all that stuff.
Yeah, and how to know when people are over their limit and when to cut them off and how to cut them off. And then it also does for that. So we wanted to build that and create some value for their members. So we built a certificate program. So anybody who takes the training, they get a certificate, and then you also get LinkedIn. So if you as a bartender, you work for a company, you get kind of put into a hierarchy underneath that company, so they have visibility to where you are in the program too. So if you start doing the training and you get stuck somewhere and stop doing it, they can see that you didn't complete it, but they also can see your certificate. So if you were to if I own the bar and you work for me and somebody sues me because they get a DUI or get into an accident when they leave my establishment, I can at least show that I did something beyond what the minimum requirements are for my employees to make sure that they were trained beyond what the state says they have to do. This is just like an additional piece. So that was kind of the value add for their membership, so everybody could take this training if you were a member.
That's really interesting. I got one quick question based on that. Did that system also allow, let's say I was bartending at your bar and I decided I don't like you anymore, I want to go to Kyle's bar, and would those certificates in that system transfer over? Would they stay with me as an individual?
Yeah, they're all tied to your individual account.
Awesome. That seems like it's a benefit for everybody.
Yeah, it was a bear to take on because that was one of those after the fact it was a problem. Like, well, how do we if this guy say you get into an altercation and that's part of the problem and you're not able to provide the certificate. So we had to kind of build that piece in later. So, but we all know that happens all the time, right? When you finish it, oh, we needed to do this one additional thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just so you know, I'm not leaving your bar for Kyle's bar because I don't like Kyle.
I won't see either of you guys. I'll be at Moe's Tavern myself. But. All right.
Nice.
Kiko, I've been wondering, what is your team like at InGroup? You mentioned yourself and business partner. Do you have any others working under you?
Yeah, I have a content person. Oh, the echo's really bad.
Yeah, I can't hear it. I think you're sounding okay.
All right, check.
Us.
That's still echoing.
Hmm.
That's weird. All right, I'll try to talk through it. It's like a 1.5 second delay, so it's rebounding back at me. So I have a content person that helps me with a lot of project management, and then I have 2 developers. I have a front-end developer and a back-end developer. And then I have a business partner, and he's sort of the creative guy, and he takes care of that. We used to have a designer, but it was hard for us. I think we're too small to keep a full-time designer fully build up. I guess their time completely covered. So we do all our design stuff now as more of a contract basis.
Gotcha. But how about for your company, especially with any competition out there and the fact that folks could go anywhere or find anybody else? What would you say that you've done, you and your partner, to set InGroup apart? What kind of creative things have you done?
Well, as far as like competition, I have never really billed myself to try to get business from the internet, which is sort of unique being a guy who builds things for the internet. It hasn't really been the direction I wanted to go because I really see myself as a problem solver. So people they're not going to Google for, hey, I need somebody to solve problems, like just any problem, whatever problem. So most of my leads come from people that I meet in just the natural course of my life. And when I meet them, you build relationships, and over time they just get to know you, and that's where I build all the leads from. So I don't really generate leads from the internet per se. So the competition thing really hasn't been much of an issue for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I do something very similar. I mean, as far as I don't even bother with internet, trying to get leads on the internet. It's all almost word of mouth, and like you said, you mentioned you're doing a lot of practitioners, doctors, whatever. I've kind of gotten in a similar niche with real estate. So how do I make your business flow, whether that's managing your time schedules and getting your properties listed or however that may be, but identifying what their issues are, and that's worked out well for me as far as getting business is concerned. So yeah, I definitely get what you're saying.
I've always was nervous about like trying to optimize my site to be like the WordPress developer in X city or X state or even nationwide, just because I was worried that the floodgate was going to be so much. And any client that I've ever got that came to me because I did WordPress was coming to me, I always found for the wrong reasons. It wasn't always the same reason, but always for the wrong reasons. They were deciding on technology before. Not that it was a bad choice, just that they were choosing it probably because of the price, or very rarely was it for good reasons. It was always like, we want a cheap website, and I don't really want to take on a whole bunch, and I don't want to deal with having to weed through a bunch of those kind of leads. So I just never went that direction.
So it sounds like you've done some diverse things. You're not just that WordPress developer. You're not just that WordPress company. You've got a variety of clients. What do you see the next couple of years? What's your big picture goal for the next couple of years to continue on doing something different, or what's your vision?
Well, so I think that, I mean, I'm pretty happy what I'm doing right now, but I do want to work on like building more of a passive income. I've about 3 years ago, I switched over to trying to do more retainer work, but I want to do it even more so than that and build more WordPress type WordPress.com type solutions where people can sign up for things and do products without me having to interact with them. That's kind of my long-term goal, is to be to build something that I'm not involved in the process, I guess.
So we want to talk actually a little bit about Prestige Conf, if we could.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so Prestige Conf, you had the first event last October, and it went well. It was a success enough that you said we're going to do this again.
I'm a bit of a masochist in that way, I think.
So it goes with big events like that. So tell us, how are things going with preparations for the 2015 event, which is coming up in February? How many tickets are left? What news can you tell us? What challenges are you going through? Just give us the scoop.
I looked the other day. I think we have like 35 tickets, I think, left. It's a pretty small event. I guess I should say that first. When we did the first one in Minneapolis, we didn't really know what was going to happen. I organized 2 WordCamps before I got into this. I learned a lot about this process and what needs to happen. Somebody's echoing again. I learned a lot about this process through organizing 2 WordCamps. And when we did this first one, I assumed it was going to be like WordCamp. I thought we'd sell 350 tickets. I was sorely mistaken in that assumption. It didn't work that way. So we ended up selling, I think, for the first one, 125, 150 tickets, I believe. But we had a room that could have held up to like 335 people. So we learned a lot there, and what ended up happening is the sponsors came to me, the speakers came to me, and they all had such a great time because they were able to interact with each other on a level that they've never been at an event and been able to interact like that. Because having only 150 people there, having 9 to 10 great speakers, and then having a bunch of great sponsors there, that created a lot of great conversations at the after party, the night before, at the bar, in the hotel. We bring all the speakers, we pay for the speakers to get there, and we like to bring them all to the same hotel because it creates just a synergy, having everybody together. It creates kind of a cool hang at night, which was really beneficial, I believe. Did that answer I don't remember the question. Did that answer the question?
Well, yeah, what I was going to say about that is that's a very different vibe than you normally see. Any of the WordCamps I've been to, whether they're local or when I've traveled, everybody's staying in different hotels, and you're trying to sync up speakers, attendees. It doesn't matter, and you don't have that cohesion.
But you are trying to hang out, though, right?
Right, and when I went to WordCamp San Francisco, I stayed near the venue. Well, that was a bad move because everybody else was downtown. Yeah. So by the time I'd get over there after the event, everybody else is, everybody's paired off and gone all their different ways. So yeah, it definitely makes sense. It's very logical to have everybody in one house.
Yeah,
I like that.
It really was cool. That part of it was really awesome. We were right across the street from the venue, so it was easy for people. If they needed to go back to their hotel during the day, it was easy. Just walk across the street and you were right there. So it was really nice. Vegas, we don't have it quite set up like that. We're going for we have a really cool venue, but trying to get a spot on the Strip, we're not at that level. We're not doing CES or anything. So we find a cool place, and what we've decided to do is have a local host sponsor. It's kind of like like your local host development environment, and we have a local host sponsor who helps us with kind of the eyes on the ground sort of thing. He's like, Jason, you'll understand. He's like our forward observer. He's there kind of doing everything, and then we're the Air Force guys that are a couple thousand miles away, kind of running the operation from 10,000-foot view. So we have John Hawkins from 9 Seeds is helping us in Las Vegas, and he found us a cool place, really awesome spot. They had a WordCamp there, but then we're going to do the hotel. We're going to go for downtown Las Vegas, like old school Las Vegas, and there's a whole revitalization effort that's happening there. So it's pretty cool situation there. So we're able to get pretty reasonable room. We have everybody in the same hotel, and I just feel like the group, if we would have been on the Strip, like as soon as you walk out of the hotel, you're just like diluted into the masses. Where
You get
downtown
lost.
Vegas, we can kind of still stay together as a group, and if 70 people go out at night for an after party and then hang out whatever after, you can still kind of see each other, you can still get around and have a great time. So it's really about that environment. It's almost like I don't know, we used to call them offsites in the military, where we would we wouldn't wear a uniform one day and we'd go, and it's probably only in the Air Force because we would talk about people's feelings and stuff, but we would go and have a good time and talk about what we could improve in the office or whatever. But it's kind of like that. It's just like a retreat. We're all going together and have a good time.
Well, and it's great that you have your speakers and your attendees. Everybody's in this group. What would you expect the average attendee to be? I mean, what's the profile of what you want your attendee to be? What's the right person?
So I think the right person really could come from a plethora of things. I think it's anybody that's running a small business, really, because we're not there talking about like, here's how to do a table join in SQL. We're not talking about those kinds of things. We're talking about like, how did you hire your first employee? What did you have to do to be able to hire one employee? We're talking about things like that. And if you're running a hair salon or you're running a web agency, they still apply.
It's all business.
Yeah, it's business. The conferences I go to and the speakers that I hear and that I'm impressed by, they all speak at WordCamp. So we kind of have mostly WordPress speakers, but that's just because Jake Goldman would come speak at it, and he grew a company from 185 people. Now it's 100 people in less than 4 years, and he didn't take any capital funding. That's a great story. That's awesome. Hard work. He just went out there and hustled it up and found the right people and built a great team, and he's a great leader. The fact that he uses WordPress really means nothing to me for my conference. That's not why I bring him there.
So how has the concept of your conference changed from when you originally envisioned it to what's coming up shortly?
So originally, I had the vision that I was going to do, like, if you've been to any WordCamps, like they'll do tracks where there'll be like a developer track, a design track, a business track. I sort of had the vision that we would change. Originally, I was thinking probably we would just keep it in Minneapolis and do it like once a quarter. And this quarter would be business, the next quarter would be development, the next quarter would be design, the next quarter would be, I don't know, customer relations. I had a year to figure that out. It didn't really matter at that time. We ended up not really going that way and sort of specializing on just the business piece, because I think that's the part that everybody needs help with. If you didn't come up in an agency or something bigger than what you're trying to build, you haven't learned the lessons already. You're learning the lessons as you go through it. And if you're learning the lessons as you go through it, then you need some mentorship. But you're a solo guy. You don't get any mentorship. Who do you have in Medellin that's going to help you, with your business piece? It's hard to find that person because it's localized. So I wanted to bring together the people that have mentored me, the people that I've learned from, and let everybody else learn from them too. And I think there's a big need for that. So we're just going to focus on that right now and not try to do more than that. So I guess that's how it's changed. I had a bigger vision for it, but the reality of it sets in. And, I think with everything, with plugin, if you're creating plugins, it's really easy to say, I wanted to do a million different things. But when it comes down to it, I think the business piece was, I guess, sort of our MVP. We came out with that first, and now we're just going to kind of stick with that and sort of build on that.
That's pretty interesting. Sorry, Jason.
I was just going to say, you said he had bigger plans for it, but it sounds like it's doing pretty well and going pretty big.
Well, I mean, bigger plans from that. I wanted to train everybody on everything, so now I'm just going to train them on this one little piece. And I'm not training anybody. I'm not speaking at it. I just pick the people that I think are great leaders and great speakers.
Yeah, everybody agrees that you guys are doing a really good job at that, putting together a great event. So it's a pretty quick turnaround to put together this event in February when your original one was just back in October. So what made you guys choose to do it so quickly, or was that originally the plan?
It was originally the plan. It was kind of the plan all the way out. It's like, I don't know. I was first trained as a musician, so I kind of learned things being a musician. And organizing a WordCamp was a lot like being a musician from a schedule standpoint. It's like, we should do an album every year. So we did a WordCamp every year. We would spin up for it like a couple months before, be really busy. And this is all volunteer work, which Prestige essentially is too. But we would spin up real busy few months before, do the event, deal with the aftermath things, and then kind of put our hands up and forget it until next year. Where I think it's better to start to build routines in your life, and if we're getting ready for a conference, we finish one, we can start getting ready for the next conference, and it keeps everybody doing it. It's where we start to build kind of routines in our daily schedules and what we have to do, and hopefully it kind of builds that schedule in people too, that like, hey, let's once a quarter go around and meet up with this group of people and learn, share our experiences.
Cool, thanks. Next question I had for you is just why Prestige Conf? All right. So I remember when the first one happened, seeing a lot of people on Twitter that I had followed talking really excitedly about it beforehand, and then kind of singing the praises of the conference as well afterward. So it seemed to be really well received, stuff like that. But hearing you talk, a little bit during the interview tonight, and you saying that, the platform doesn't matter so much. The fact that a lot of the business, leaders that I really like and that I asked to speak, have their businesses founded on WordPress, that wouldn't necessarily have to be the case. These are just really good business leaders, that kind of thing. So that got me thinking about, why Prestige Conf over, the bazillion other business conferences that are out there. Is that maybe that one of the strengths of the conference is that businesses, a lot of them are similarly sized or have similar issues because they're in the tech space. Many of them are things like that. Like, does it have something to do with it? The shared platform and the shared kind of customer base?
I think that from your standpoint, like to come to the conference, that probably has some value. I think that it just happened by luck. Like the fact that it's Prestige Conference, and why should you go to Prestige Conference over any other conference? I don't have an answer for it because I've never been to. The only other conference I've ever been to, I went to like a Tony Robbins conference once, like 3 years ago, and that was an awesome conference, and I would recommend it over my conference any day. But it's a lot more expensive. It's 5,000 people. Like, we're trying to build like a real intimate environment that, so we're planning the next one right now in August, first weekend of August. So it's breaking news right here, WP Roundtable. August 1st and 2nd, it'll be in Minneapolis again. And we want to build on, so there's another thing that's changed too, is that I was thinking that I was going to move it every quarter to a new place, and I would like to do that, but it's hard to do because the ticket sales piece is hard, because most of the people that are going to come to your conference are local. It's hard to get people to buy a plane ticket, a hotel, and a conference ticket, and take the time away from work and all those other things. It's hard to get the same 150 people to do that. So far, we've only done one, so it's hard to get that same people that came to the first one. They're not all coming to the second one. So you have to take that into account. So it's sort of like building a scene, I guess, in more than one place. So we want to build on that Minneapolis thing that we had happen, and we have a great venue. It's the best venue I've ever seen for this kind of conference. And so I guess if these are the kind of people, if you look at the speakers, if those are the kind of people you want to learn from, it's a great conference. It's perfect for you. And we don't think that building it for 150 people is that hard when you're looking at, just in Minneapolis, there's so many developers there. And we do get people that are going to travel for it. So to build 150, it doesn't seem that hard. That we're not trying to be the thing for everybody, but I don't see how somebody in any business couldn't take something from this, I guess, is really the bottom line.
Wow, so that's really exciting news that there's another Prestige Conf coming up. So I've just got a couple of quick questions for you. Well, one might not be so quick, but the first one: do you handpick all of your speakers? You and Josh do that selection. Do you seek out the speakers and invite them, or is there what's your process for that?
So that's been the process. We've only done 2, and we're always open to change. If somebody wanted to speak at it, I would love to hear from them. But in doing so, it kind of goes back even to that question of why Prestige Conference, is that I saw some limitations within organizing a WordCamp because I organized 2 of them, and I mentored some other people to organize other ones. I saw some weaknesses in it, or what I perceived to be weaknesses. It's all a matter of opinion and what you want, what you're trying to build. There were things that I would have liked to have seen done differently. So some of that is so for WordCamp, I needed to fill, like, say 36 slots for speakers. I would put out a call for applications. I'd get, like, the second year, I think I got 70 applications for 36 slots. Sounds great. A lot of those people are going to submit for the same things. You know how many API talks you get if you try to hold a WordCamp right now? Everybody wants to talk about the API because it's the new thing. Well, WordPress 3.0, custom post types. Hey, everybody wants to talk about custom post types. So some of the talks, like from people that I even wanted to have speak, the submissions were terrible. So you have some of that, but then you try to line up a track, and it's like, okay, I want to have like a development track, and I want it to build through the day. I want it to start here, and I want it to get through these kinds of topics through the day. It's really hard to do that in like 6 different tracks, say. So when you seek out the speakers, it's a dialogue. It's like, hey, we'd like to have you speak. This is what we'd like to have you speak on. And we're able to kind of massage that a little bit. So it's a little bit easier to build a cohesive track with people that you know because you know what their strengths are. I think that there's some people that, I don't know, like some people tweeted like Prestige, like that's a pretty like lofty name. It seems like you really think you're like the hottest thing around, and it's not about that. It's, you know, it was a name. We picked a name, whatever. There were no thoughts behind it. We don't think we're the best conference in the world. We try to create the best conference we possibly can, but there's other great conferences out there too, and we go to them. I'm going to Pressnomics in 2 days. You know, I've never been to it, but I want to go to it. I want to see what it's all about. I hear great things, so it'll be a good time. But I don't know. So we do seek out the speakers. I would, you know, at Pressnomics, I want to meet new people and have more people to speak at the next one. I'd like to do a 2-day event. I'd like to do it Saturday and Sunday and have kind of a full weekend of great speakers. It's a single track. We want everybody to have taken in the same information, because then when you go to the after party, it's natural that you're going to talk about the things and everybody saw the same thing. So you can say, oh man, that talk today, wasn't that great? You know they saw it because everybody was in the same room. Where at a WordCamp, you're at the after party and you're like, hey, did you go to that thing? And they're like, oh no, I'm a content person. I'm sorry, I didn't go to that talk. So it's all about creating that synergy and creating the conversations. I think that's really the key.
I think that's really cool and well put, and definitely it gives like a totally different atmosphere and a different approach. So
it's hard to express that though on a website. It's hard to explain exactly all those things, you know. But,
yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure.
But from my heart, that's what I'm building.
Yeah, well, it's very clear. You're taking this very hands-on approach. It's a lot easier to just kind of shuffle in the applicants that you get and, you know, massage them a little and fit them into the right places and be totally hands-off about the content of anything. And but for you to get so intimately involved with the selection of every speaker and their topic and the order and the structure of the whole event, it's just sounds fantastic.
We hand select every sponsor too, because really there aren't a lot of people knocking on our door saying, hey, we want to give you money for something that we've never heard of before. So we hand select those two, and ultimately I'm pretty much hand selecting every 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 person to attend too. So all 4 of you, I'd love for you to attend. So come on
That
out.
would be great.
But it really is a very grassroots thing. I mean, if you think about put yourself in. I was just like you guys, and I said, hey, I want to start a conference because I think there's a need there, and I think that people running a business, I think it's an underserved topic, and I don't really believe that WordCamp is the place for those conversations to happen. It's like, I don't know. I go to WordCamps too, but ultimately it's a bad business decision, and we should look beyond ourselves for learning lessons on business. If we only look at people that are in WordPress businesses or only people that go to WordCamps, then we're sort of shooting ourselves in the foot. So we have another. I'll give you another breaking story too. Tina Doby was supposed to speak from WP Engine, but in talking with WP Engine, they're one of our sponsors too. They're awesome. I've used them for years. But it comes from that relationship that they want to get involved. And in conversations with them, we wanted to switch who we're going to have speak. So we have, get the name. See, this is so breaking. I don't even have the information.
Oh, wait. Kiko's gone. Oh, Kiko's back. Great.
Oops.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
And we're back with Kiko Doran.
There's a learning lesson. When you mean to hit Command T, don't hit Command R.
Thank you for that.
I had to look down to see where they were.
This microphone, it gets in the way. It throws off my keyboard hand.
All right. So you were in breaking news. You're looking something up.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So I'll.
So basically, we have the CFO from WP Engine is going to speak, and her name is April Downing, and she's not somebody that you would run into at a WordCamp because she's the CFO. She's not going to apply to speak at WordCamp, and it makes sense, right? Like, would you expect her to apply to speak at WordCamp? Probably be pretty intimidating for somebody like her to apply to speak at WordCamp. But she's helped a lot of companies get capital funding, and I want to learn about capital funding, and I think everybody would be interested. Hey, I have this great idea. What are my options if I wanted to go out and seek venture capital? So she's going to be able to talk to that, and she's going to be able to talk to it way better than anybody at WordCamp is going to be able to talk to it. So that's what we're trying to build. We have a woman from the Downtown Project who's helping. She works for Tony Shea from Zappos, and she's involved in revitalization of a of a city, basically downtown Las Vegas, and they're trying to bring that back to life. And she's going to be able to talk about that journey, and I think that's pretty interesting.
That sounds amazing. Thanks for sharing that with us. Definitely a good find. So I wanted to ask you, I want to hear your thoughts. You talked a little bit about it, but kind of explain, what do you think about the WordPress conference industry as it is kind of becoming? There are a lot of conferences exclusively focused on WordPress, intentionally or not intentionally, just because it's so big now. The WordCamps are incredibly huge now, and a lot of other conferences popping up all the time. What do you think about how the landscape looks now, and where do you think it's going? What changes and shifts do you expect to see in the future?
I don't really know. I don't think that I'm the guy with my finger on the pulse of that. I just know, I'm running this organization and the consulting business, and also organizing this conference with a really small team. So I don't know much beyond what I know and what I'm trying to do, and I guess I feel we probably got into what I think I'm going to try to build. I don't know that that's what everybody else is trying to build. I know I get to be on WordSesh with a couple people, one that does like some JavaScript conferences, and then Ryan Sullivan, who's doing the Loop conference. We got to talk with him a little bit, so it sounds like he's doing some pretty cool things. They're building it's like a big conference, which is way bigger than what we'll ever probably be. I think that if we build that big, it would take away from what we're building in that intimate environment and being able to have those conversations. So but for development, I think that's a great way to go. So I wish I could go to it. We're expecting a child that same weekend, so I can't go. But I encourage everybody to, if you guys have ideas for conferences, do it.
That's great.
Not that it's really on conferences, but I'd like to start moving to Happy Joe a little bit. Can you tell us about your involvement there, and maybe you know probably more about the backstory than I do. Could you tell us exactly what's going on there and your involvement?
Yeah, so I got turned on to Happy Joe through Prestige Conference. James Dahlman had contacted me, and he wanted to see if there were any speaking opportunities for the first Prestige Conference. So in getting to know him and having a conversation with him, I really loved what he was trying to do, and he was building Happy Joe. And it just really struck a chord with me, being a prior military guy. And I've just gone this last year, I just went through my VA disability rating thing after I've been out for 7 years. So it was kind of a, I don't know, it sort of just came into my life at the right time. But their goal is to help veterans try to get jobs in tech, basically, or build businesses in tech, whatever it is you want to do with a tech flair.
And you know exactly, or what's your role here? Are you becoming I want to say the word sponsor, but that's not right, a mentor, or how are you helping out with the company?
So I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm on the board, I guess. I don't know. I help James with kind of strategic vision, and we have group, like, team meetings and talk about how we want to see Happy Joe, where we want to see it go. It's just like any business. It's like a constantly changing piece, and it's like when you're flying a plane from LA to Hawaii, they say you're only like on the right vector like 2% of the time. The rest of the time you're just like constantly course correcting, and then you land in the right spot. So I would say that it's a lot of that. We're trying to figure it out. We need more supporters. We need more mentors. We need a lot, but we also want to help people. But James is doing it all by himself, really. So anywhere I can help out, I try to help out. But I'm going to do some mentoring. It's we're trying to. It has to be the right people, I guess, for my experience, where people want to go. So I do some of that, and then we had him out for Prestige Conference, and we donated a little money and donated some tickets, and trying to help him achieve his goals. I guess help him live his dream of just helping veterans, which is great.
And I know the conference in San Antonio is coming up. Do you know anything else that's going on anytime soon that maybe we can point out here? Yeah,
they're doing a WP boot camp next Friday night, and I can't go. I already had tickets to Pressnomics, and I'm kind of committed there, so I'm not going to be able to make it. But James is going to be there, and there's a lot of people that are really eager to help that are going to be able to make it down. So definitely check that out. Go to Happy Joe. And we can is there show notes for the?
Yep.
All right, we'll get that in there, and go check them out and get in touch with James if you'd like to help, if you need help, anything. He's a great guy, and he's really willing to lend a hand anywhere he can. And he's an amazing designer too.
That's what we've heard, and it's a good point to mention that James will be a guest on the show, on the roundtable. We booked James to come join us on March 9th. So
awesome. He's a great guy. You'll be fully entertained for an hour, without a doubt.
Yeah, we really look forward to that. So thank you. So we're getting towards the end of our time together here, Kiko. We got just a few questions we wanted to ask about. You participate a bit in the WordPress community. What ways do you participate and contribute in the community?
I don't know. I did in 4.1. I had my first core contribution. That was pretty exciting. I've used WordPress for a long time, and it's the first time I've been on the contributor list. So that was cool. I'm hopeful to do more. It was really like one small little JavaScript fix, so I want to do more of that in the future, but pretty fun. It was on my list of things that I wanted to do last year, so I was able to check that off. And I think like September I did it at WordCamp Los Angeles, and then it got committed like maybe in November sometime. It's a weird process to see how that all works. You know, you put something in and you don't know if it's going to get contributed or not, and then one day it does. But it was pretty cool. So I did that, and like I said, I organized 2 WordCamps. I worked as like an advisor, mentor to WordCamp Calgary last year. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of my friends. Like I don't ever think about it like, hey, I'm doing something in the community. It's just a lot of the people I've gotten to know from going to WordCamps and the people I kind of communicate with online. They all go to WordCamps and they're all involved in WordPress. So we started. I worked with the guys at WordPress. I don't know if you know them. If you haven't had them on, you should definitely have like Travis Tots on. He's a pretty awesome guy. He's traveling around the country right now in an Airstream and running a business of like 15 or 16 people while he's driving around in an Airstream, and he does a great job at it, and he's a great designer. And they're in Minneapolis. So we started a group. It was like we were meeting up one Wednesday a month. We had a local meetup group that it was always crowded, but it really kind of always stays at the beginner level because people come in and people go, and you always have new people and they're all asking beginner questions. So it ends up being the same people teaching all the time. But we started a group that was like a advanced developer group, and we would get together once a month and just sit around the board table, like 15 people, and talk about what we had been building and how we were building it and share information. And it was like a great group of people. We had Reed Pfeiffer would come pretty regularly from Modern Tribe. Should have him on too. He's really awesome. He's like Modern Tribe, it started off as Shane and Peter, so everybody knows Shane and Peter, but Reed is the kind of the Triforce of that. But Reed is a really awesome guy, and he's an amazing speaker. He spoke at the first Prestige conference, which he did a great job. He would come. Nick Siski, he's a pretty big Genesis developer and builds some high-level stuff. John Havlick from WordPress, or Breadcrumbs NavXT. Most people know him from that plugin. It's been downloaded like, I don't know, 1.3 million times or something from the repository. So it was just like a great group of people that we'd get together and share that. So I helped with the WordPress guys, and we organized that, and we were doing that every Wednesday until I moved, like I said, in August, so I don't get to be part of that anymore. But I want to build up something in New Jersey too, and build like a little bit of a local meetup scene here. But kind of at the beginning stages of it, and I got too much stuff going on already.
Yeah, I can imagine. So thanks for sharing that. And that kind of answers a little bit of one of the questions that I was going to ask you, but I'm going to ask if there's anything else to add to it, because we always ask our guests if there's anybody else that they would recommend that we invite to be a guest on the show that we think would make a valuable interview. So you mentioned a few good names, and I definitely want to invite some of them on. Are there any others that you think we should ask?
I would definitely talk to Travis and Reed. You've had Michelle Schulp on here already.
That's right.
I know Matt Medeiros has been on here.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, have him again. He's great.
Yeah, we might do that. We barely got through a fraction of the things we wanted to talk about.
Have you had Jake Goldman on?
He has agreed to come on, but we haven't set a date yet.
Yeah, he's awesome. And boy, does he have a wealth of information. And you want to learn anything about building a WordPress-based business, like that's the guy to talk to.
That's a fact. Good recommendations.
So one more Prestige plug is that when you buy a ticket of any type, you get access to the videos for 6 months after the fact. So I don't know what we're going to do with that. We're trying to build a library, but it's a labor of love, but you can go back and watch Jake Goldman's talk, and boy, is it an awesome talk.
Wow. Yeah, that's really good to know. So you get access to the videos when you buy a ticket. So we encourage anybody watching or tuning into this, if you can swing it, Prestige Conf, it's worth going.
It's worth the price of admission for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so just a couple other quick questions that we want to ask you as we wrap this thing up. You've mentioned a couple. You're going to be at Pressnomics coming up here in a couple days, and you're obviously going to be at Prestige Conf when that comes around. But what other in-person, real-life, in-the-flesh events can people expect to bump into Kiko Doran at over the course of 2015?
After Prestige Conference, I'm going to the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within in New Jersey. So I'm doing that the week after Prestige Conference. So that's the first week of March. Then we're having a baby in May, so I'm sort of locked down on travel for a little while. But I try to attend the New York City meetup group when I can. Then I will be at Prestige Conference again in August. And I'm sure I'll definitely hit some of the East Coast, like Boston, Philly, hit those WordCamps probably as they happen through the later part of the year. What about you guys? Are you guys going to anything coming up?
Heck yeah.
What are you going to?
Well, we try to hit just about everything that we can reach in the Midwest. So there will always be a couple in Michigan, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, which I co-organize. We'll try and make a couple in Ohio, like Dayton in March, and North Canton maybe. And we always go to Chicago every year. It's a fantastic word camp. And there's always a few others that we consider on the fringes, like Milwaukee or Nashville or something. If the stars align, we'll make events like that.
You guys should hit New York. It's a pretty good one.
Oh, that's what I've heard. I've always wanted to go to that.
Any of you guys baseball fans? When we do the Prestige in August, we're going to do like a Twins game before that, probably the Thursday before.
Who are they playing?
That'd be so cool.
I think they might be playing the Yankees. I'm not sure exactly. I don't remember.
I'm a Mets fan, so.
Well, growing up, my two favorite teams were the Yankees and whoever was playing the Mets.
They usually won.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I was growing up in '86, so I got to see good Mets and bad Yankees. So I grew up. It was the opposite of the way it is today. Well, the Yankees are about to become bad too.
Yeah, tough year for them. But those Tigers, I tell you, I'm happy with that.
Well, if you're a Tigers fan, then you should have Carl Hancock on here. He's a big collector of Miguel Cabrera Triple Crown baseball bats. He has quite the collection. I've seen it. It's pretty unbelievable.
Wow. We're gonna have to invite him.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I think at this point we've asked the important questions, and our time is about out. So, Kiko, is there anything that we didn't get to cover that we needed to mention? Any last bits of news? Any more breaking news you want to share?
No, I think that's all the breaking news. That stuff's not even on the website yet, so.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. No, I think that's about it. It was great to talk to you guys. Great to get to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for being on.
It's funny. I like the half hour before you go live because you guys actually talk too. It's not all just me talking. So it's like nice to get to know you guys.
Yeah.
We've been considering, putting that on as a separate show.
Yeah, that's not the after hours, the before hours.
That's kind of like the gag reel.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad way to go. Do that and then cut it off, and then you don't even really have to do introductions. You can just get into questions because some people probably don't give a crap where you came from or what you did or where you live or any of that.
Yeah, that's probably true. Brilliant idea. You just reinvented the show for us.
All right.
That's brilliant.
I would watch the half hour before, because like you feel like you get to know people and you don't even have to talk to them.
Next time we sign on, I'm just going to go ahead as soon as I open it up, go live, and then as people come in, be like, oh, by the way, we're live this time. No warm-ups.
Yeah, it's the before hours.
Yes.
Yeah, they get to watch you say, hey, can I hit the button now? Can I hit the button?
He's giving away all the secrets.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on the show, Kiko. We really appreciate it. We hope and are very confident that Prestige will be a big success. We're excited that it's coming to Minneapolis later this year again as well.
Who's following me up? Who's the next week?
Our guest next week will be. That's like a really good.
Steve Grunwell.
Steve Grunwell.
I don't know.
Where's Steve Grunwell, who is an engineer at 10up.
Oh, nice.
Yes, he will be joining us to talk about us. So Steve is a great guy.
That company is really amazing. Like getting to when we did the first Prestige Conf, is it all right if we keep talking, or are we got to be done with this?
Say what you got to say, man.
Well, all right. So the getting to know Jake, I don't know if any of you guys have seen Inside the Actor Studio, but that was kind of our muse for what we built. So, and I can't take credit for it. It really can't. It was Jake's idea, actually. And he just wanted to do something that was a little more personal. And as we talked about it, like, it really just became the conversations we were having. We wanted to have that conversation on the stage. So we probably did about 10 hours of planning for this thing. And we had slides. And it was just sort of an organized, like, tour around his business. So we made slides and we just kind of talked through it, and it was real loose, and Josh Broughton interviewed him. But we organized it all where Jake and I basically talked about it for like 10 weeks. And Josh just was on the call, but he didn't talk. He just sat and watched. So then when it came time for him to have that conversation with Jake, it was the first time he ever had that conversation with Jake, but he had already seen the conversation happen. So it was sort of a weird thing to do, but we got to know him so well and got to understand like what he built with that business and how amazing it is. And he's a great guy you should definitely have him on here, but just learned a lot about 10up, and they really have built a solid organization. And we're going to do that same sort of thing. So we're going to do 2 of those in Vegas. There's one with Pippin Williamson. I'm sure you guys all know him. He's, like if James Brown is the godfather of soul, then Pippin is like the godfather of like an open source project that makes like a living for your family. He's the godfather of that. And so Jake is going to actually interview him about what he's built, the Pippin Williamson empire. And I can't wait to hear that. It's going to be awesome. And then Josh is going to do another one with Carl Hancock from Gravity Forms and give sort of the opposite play. So Jake built a big company, right? Any of us, imagine building your business to 100 people. That's a big company to me. It seems huge.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that come with building a company of 100 people. Carl has the exact opposite of that. So like the title of his is Building a Big Small Company. Well, he has Gravity Forms is a huge company, but they do it all with like 10 or 11 people. But they do customer service, they do sales, they do marketing, they do everything, documentation, all of that. And imagine what the support stuff must be like for a plugin like Gravity Forms. Mm-hmm. And they do all of that with like 10 or 11 people. That's phenomenal to me. That's the kind of business I want to build. I don't want to have 100 people. 100 people is that's a lot of people. I know how hard it is to build to 2 people. So to build to 100 people, it's insane to me.
And they're not just any 100 people.
Yeah,
Jake's got the best in the business working for him.
Yeah, but I think that he'll tell you that the best people are the people you've never even heard of.
Wow.
Well, think about why you think the people you think are great are great. The best people are the people that just do work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he has some awesome people working for him. I forget his last name. His first name is Taylor. He's like the creative director. I met him at WordCamp Los Angeles because he was speaking, but he never goes to WordCamps. Just happened to catch him there. Super nice dude. He's really cool. And he's not really like part of the WordPress community per se, but I bet he's an awesome creative director.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the hard part of building that business is it's not just luring in the people that you know on Twitter. Some of those people you know on Twitter because they work at 10up, or that's how you got to know them because they work with somebody at 10up or some, who knows how it happened, but it's finding those people before you know who they are and before you've seen the crazy contributions that they make to the community. I feel like Jason's staring at me because it's like his avatar. And he just looks like so sad in that avatar. I feel like he's really not digging what I'm saying.
I think that freezes at times. But wow. Yeah, you're right on, Kiko. That's so interesting, just how those businesses work.
10up a amazing business. So if you watch that video, he talks about his EBITDA, like how much money they make, you know, before taxes and all that or whatever. And so he talks about that and he compares it to the growth of the company, and you see like where like the gross numbers like really change substantially, and he can talk about like what things were happening at that time that made it go down or made it go up or whatever, and they all make logical sense. But if I were building the company, I definitely wouldn't foresee those things coming as I was building, and so it's cool to see kind of the roadmap of how that laid out for him over 4 years.
Wow, that sounds worth watching. It sounds like it's worth paying for a ticket just to get access to those videos.
Yeah, it definitely was worth it, and the videos are super high quality too. We have a great video guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, check it out. I think you'd enjoy it.
All right. Yeah, and just a reminder for those who can't physically make it out to Las Vegas, there are live streaming tickets still available, and there will be until the day of the event.
Yeah, you get to watch it live the day of the event, and then you'll get a ticket. We put the videos online like within 48 hours. We have them all online, edited with titling and slides and everything.
Wow, that's pretty quick turnaround. All right.
Well, I'll sign up for it.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I think I will too.
Yeah, you've got at least this panel.
And come out to one when you can. Come to Minneapolis. I think that the real value is being there and being in the crowd. I think that the conversations, like I took a picture. I have it on my phone. I took a picture at like one table. It was like Lisa Sabin Wilson, Matt Medeiros, Reed Pfeiffer, Travis Tots. They were in one row of 4 seats, and just looking at that, I thought, man, this is awesome to have people like that here, and like their eyes big, like learning, asking people questions. Like it was really awesome to have people of that caliber like in the audience watching these conversations or these presentations, some conversations.
Exactly. That sounds incredible.
Awesome. Well, I hope to meet the rest of you guys in person. I met Kyle in Chicago, and hopefully I'll see you in Chicago again this year.
I certainly hope so. I look forward to it every year.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a new organizer this year, so we'll see. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So
I haven't even heard who it's going to be, but it's always a good event.
His name's Ryan Irwin. He's a pretty nice guy.
Oh, okay.
Have him on here too.
Good idea.
I'll give you guys people for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you would know.
Well, awesome. Thanks for doing what you guys are doing. It's good to share information, and I'll definitely check it out in the future.
Appreciate that. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks
for joining us.
Thanks.
Yeah.